agenda. Oh, Pledge of Allegiance right up next. All right, here's our awkward because all of the delays with electronics, but I love hearing the voices. So if you can unmute, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Thank you. I know that's awkward, but I love it and I don't want to hear just myself talk. So, all right, let's move on to, I do want to just state for the record that if there is anyone out there who wants to bring up an item for the school board or has questions, our school board email address is on the website. Please use that and we will to you in a timely fashion. All right, now on to the agenda. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Awesome.
I second.
Awesome. All right. Any questions on the agenda? All right. All in favor, raise your hand, please. 2, 3. Okay, that's all of us. That passes unanimously. Great. On to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting.
I second.
No discussion on the consent agenda, so raise your hand if you approve. Great, there we go. That's unanimous. All right. And student representative report. We have Carter. Hey, Carter, what's up?
Hello. I just have a few things to report for this month. At the high school, we had a food drive throughout October and November, and we were able to raise about, I think it was 550 pounds, and we donated to the Creswell food pantry. And then we had each class, we have our homeroom class, and we did a homeroom kind of competition between the classes. And it was really fun because a lot of the classes got really, really close within each other. So we were able to give some donuts to the winning class. And then this upcoming next week, the week before our winter break, we're going to have a holiday spirit week. And we were able to get a few of our students together on, I believe it was Monday it was Tuesday. It was yesterday. After school, we made some snowflakes and drank some hot cocoa and watched a holiday movie. So that was a lot of fun to get something that we could do together after school and kind of start the celebrations and work on some decorations. And then we also had the community parade tree lighting this last weekend, where we were able to have our concert band was able to march and play a few songs, and our jazz bands were able to perform. And it was really fun to just be able to see a lot of students come together. And I know I saw a lot out singing with the community choir. And so that was really fun. And to just have the community come together and have the bands be able to perform for them was really fun. So I think that's what I have. If there's any questions, I'm available for hopefully some answers. But if not, then that's it.
Questions for Carter? All right. Carter, we love having you and any other student representatives join us every month. It's really great to see you guys hear what's happening. So we appreciate you joining us. And you can feel free to log off anytime. We know you probably have studies and sports and other things you need to get to. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, Carter.
Hey, Carter.
All right. Yeah, I do love having our student representative. Candace, thanks for suggesting we bring that back this year. That was great. Okay, unfinished business. So if you guys happen to look at your board packet over the weekend, you would have noticed we would have had 2 policies down in the new business section, but they are actually unfinished business. Marilyn caught this for me because I lost it in the transition from June to August over the summer. But these 2 policies were posted back in June And I had neglected to see these in the minutes and pick these back up and get them approved in August. So I appreciate Marilyn catching this for me. And so we moved this to unfinished. And so I just need a motion to approve. And if there's any questions, we can chat about them.
I move to approve. I move to approve the two amendments, 11 BGA and 11 BGA-AR.
I second. Oh.
Great, thanks. Any questions on these two policies? I know it's been a while since we've seen them. Okay, no questions? Raise your hand to approve. Great, that is everybody. That's unanimous. Thank you. All right, new business. We have a budget calendar that we need to approve. Mike, do you want to talk about any dates or significant things in here?
No, the dates are all pretty standard. We're just bringing the calendar in much earlier this year than we did last year so that we can get some dates on our calendars going into the new year. But everything is on the up and up in accordance with our deadlines that we need to comply with our laws.
Great. This isn't a calendar question, but the committee members are posted at the top, and it looks like we have 4 vacancies.
Right. Yeah, Marilyn will get those posted up on schedule.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions on the budget calendar? Okay. All right.
Hey, Lacey,
Yes, ma'am.
may I ask a question?
Please.
So last time we had budget openings, we asked the budget committee members that were seated budget committee members if they were interested before we posted all of them. So would you like me to reach out to Chris Witham and Debbie McCrory? And that way we'd only need to post 2.
Yeah. So as a matter of order, do we as a board need to approve the posting of these or?
No, I mean, you have it in the past.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
sort of
That's just been
standard.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
If you want to tell me a deadline, do you want a deadline of the end of January or by the January board meeting, or what would you like? Because I can do that tomorrow.
I love your suggestion of reaching out to the previous 2 folks to see if they would like to continue. That would be great. And then
Okay.
I would say if you could get them posted by the 1st of February, that seems reasonable. We'll need them by May. So that gives us a couple months for community members to hopefully be interested and apply, and for us to maybe coerce our friends and family into filling some spots if we need.
Okay, so you want me to wait till February? Do you want me to do it in January?
January is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Does anybody else have different thoughts or opinions on that? That seems good with everybody? Okay, I'm seeing head nods, so that's a good consensus.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, were you going to say something?
no, in just looking at the calendar, we were going to appoint the positions to fill vacant budget committee positions March, April. So just want to be ahead of that. February looks good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that sounds great. Thank you for bringing that up, Marilyn.
You're welcome.
Okay, did we already vote on the budget calendar? No, we haven't. Okay. Thank you for keeping track. I start asking too many questions and I forget where we are, so I appreciate the help. All right, all in favor, raise your hand, please.
No, we need a motion first.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Oh my goodness, we don't even have a motion. Okay, thank you.
I move that
All
we
right.
approve the 2021-2022 budget calendar.
I second.
Thank you for keeping me straight. I appreciate that. All right, now raise your hand in favor of that motion. All right, that is unanimous. I so appreciate that. All right, next item. Mike, board member visits to schools. I think you're wanting to arrange a few visits for us.
I would, after the first year, I'd like to start scheduling school board member visits to schools. I went back to kind of put a procedure together because I didn't have one, and I reached out to my colleagues in Lane County, and none of them really had a formal procedure in place, just they'll follow the policies that we have from OSBA. So I put a rough procedural order in place, and then looking at that and talking with a couple of you about it, and then I sent this back out for the superintendents because they asked me what I came up with, or asked me to send them out my draft when I came up with it. So I sent it out, got a little feedback back. So already on there, I have some changes, and this will be good news to some folks out there. So on the top, the fourth bullet on the under the procedures for board visits to schools, I removed the fourth bullet because that information all rolls into where we're looking at under KK in informing the staff, the principal and the staff 24 hours in advance that we're going to have some visits to the schools, and who's coming. Our board's coming to see how things are going on in our schools and how classes operate. Kind of get a sense of how things are going in our schools and in our classrooms. So that's it.
Awesome. So Mike, what would be your preferred approach? Our policy indicates a school visit, inform the board chair and superintendent. Are you going to put some dates out there for us to reply by email to say, hey, I can go to, this date number 1 is priority for me, and this is my second choice? And
yeah, I'll talk
Okay.
with the principals. There are some things going on in the schools where, it may be a little bit chaotic there and not such an opportunity to get a good look at what's happening in the classrooms. But in looking for a window of weeks, and then sending that out to the board members and finding out which days works for which board members at whatever schools, and just working out a schedule there.
Okay, awesome. So it'll be through email is how we'll correspond to make sure we get everybody that wants to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That sounds easy enough. And so we'll look for that in January.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Why don't we move on? Does anybody have any questions about that? Everybody's good? Okay. All right. Trustee reports. Tim, you want to start us off?
Sure, as soon as I find the unmute button. Thank you for surprising me like that.
Sorry. You're first on my screen.
Good. I took care of the other training bullet on my list, and unfortunately, I didn't get around to attending any sporting events, but I've been busy with some other things. I have met with one of my favorite people, Mike Johnson, a couple of times this month, and that is always fun. And I think we had some productive conversations, and that was my month.
Awesome. That's great. Ashley?
I've been doing every other Friday night food for kid deliveries. I love doing that. Did a leadership meeting with Lacey and Mike last week. Had another meeting with Mike and Lacey earlier in the month, and Candace. And then last night I got to attend my very first Lane ESD meeting, so that was fun. I enjoyed it. And that's it.
Was there anything from the agenda on Lane ESD that you wanted to share? Those are
Not
interesting.
really. They were kind of rapid. They did a training, or not a training thing, but like a presentation, and then just kind of their reports. It was pretty quick and simple. So I just gave a quick Creswell update that Mike Anderson and I had talked about the day before. So yeah.
Awesome.
They were like,
Awesome.
"Where's Mike Anderson?" And I'm like, "You got me."
That's awesome. The more I think there's 3 of you helping backfill Mike for those through his busy season at work. And the more you guys get to know Tony Skirto, the Lane ESD director, and he'll attend our meetings each year when we approve the plan. He's a wonderful superintendent. And so I'm glad that you got to interact with him a little bit more. He's a good man to know.
Yeah, cool guy.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Ashley. Candace, what about you?
I'm trying to make some notes to myself, so hopefully I do a good job. I had a meeting with Ashley, Lacey, and Mike earlier this month, and I had a one-on-one with Mike yesterday. I did finish finally my required trainings online, so that took a little bit of time. Sorry about that. Last week, I was able to go to the girls and boys basketball game against Douglas, which was fun to watch. And we made a couple of trips up to Corvallis to watch the girls volleyball play in the state tournament. So that was fun. And then we went to a lot of state playoff football games, even though we weren't in the playoffs. We went to many, many state playoff football games in the last couple of weeks. So that was nice.
Awesome. Thank you. Mark?
So I was not at the last meeting, but since in November, you're aware that I went to Cape Falls and helped organize the Veterans Day Parade down there, and that was awesome. Also got together with folks from the VFW, and we did a flags in ceremony at the Creswell Cemetery for Veterans Day. And let's see, what else did I do? My wife and I got the privilege of sponsoring a CSD family for Christmas, thanks to Catherine Dumas. So we had fun shopping for that and wrapping Christmas presents. We went down and did the Christmas parade, and then we put the flags in for downtown Pearl Harbor Day yesterday. And then I had a really great meeting with the superintendent this morning. And that's all I got to say about that. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a couple leadership meetings, food delivery every other Friday. I appreciate getting to partnership with Ashley on that. IRC, I read with first grade on Fridays. So that's a huge learning curve for me to figure out how to manage like just 4 first graders at my table. So I got a little bit of time with my first grade teacher today, trying to figure out how to do a better job for her. It's probably going to take me all year to figure that out. And I hope, Mike, when you set up times to visit the elementary school, if some of those times can be when we can observe like IRC, because I think it's super cool to see the small groups. Because you can't walk into another elementary school in this county probably and see as small a group numbers as we have for reading. So I've been a huge supporter of IRC for years, and this is the first year that I actually get to do it, just because with my ability to work from home now, I can flex enough time and make that work. But I think it would be awesome for our board directors to see IRC and all the different volunteers that we have in the school reading with our kids. So if that works, that would be a request from me to continue to support that program. And then last week, we have a new wrestling program at the middle school to help kind of build the wrestling program at the high school to feed those kids into that. And so our first, I think they call it match. I'm learning the sports terms. Or is it a duel if it's just a duel? Okay, I went and watched the first one for the middle school last week. And it was pretty fun to see those kids out doing that. So love to see that we're creating connections between the sports programs at the middle school and the high school. Okay, all right, that's it for me for trustee reports. All right, we'll move on to business manager report. Do we have any questions on that? Okay, Mike, I had one question, and you don't have to answer in the meeting. You can just get back to me if you want. When I took a look at the financials, it looked like Fund 275 was forecasted to go into a deficit, about a $36,000 deficit this year. So my question was, is that, I'm assuming the forecasting is up to date. Are we going to need to transfer more money from the general fund into that fund?
We will.
Okay, and do we need to have a supplemental budget in the spring or at some point to do that? That's still within the authority to transfer between those two funds?
Yep.
Okay, all right, because it looked like we had exceeded the interfund transfer. I mean, met it already, so I didn't know if we needed to do an additional budget action for that.
Can I add to that? Just a
Oh,
couple
yes.
things. We're working on the back end because I think some payroll costs are going to Fund 275 when they shouldn't, like such as a coach who's already an employee. We're not quite sure in our system why it might be doing that. And we're not for sure it is, but I kind of think it is. And so we're looking at that, and that might then be a wash because we're spending less out of general fund and it's getting hit there. The other thing, if that's not the case, we are looking really good in food services, Fund 299. So we might be transferring less to that fund, which would give us a little more to make 275 whole.
Okay, all right. I really appreciate that extra information, Chanel. That's great. Okay, any questions from anybody else on the business manager report? Okay, I'm going to cruise through these rather quickly. So speak up if you've got a question as we move through. Technology services and facilities. Anything there? Joel, do you have anything additional you'd like to add that you didn't get in the report?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Transportation report. Any questions? Special services. Amy, do you want to add anything? If you had any other thoughts? Don't feel obligated. Just want to make sure you have the opportunity.
Thank you. I can't think of anything. I guess one quick little update would just be our family resource coordinator, Catherine. She continues to be just a stellar advocate and supporter for our families in the community, as many of you have already mentioned in this meeting today. But she just earned herself another grant to help support families, thanks to our Creswell First Foundation, which I know Joel's a part of. And so just want to give her a little shout out. She just continues to be such a great advocate for that program.
Thank you. And Amy, when I was looking at the tag process, I actually appreciated seeing that identification process because I hadn't seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
When we identify a kiddo for tag, I know through my own kids, moving them into the advanced reading classes, the advanced math classes, those kind of things. Is there other curriculum that's more structured that we're able to help supplement an addition or things that we're working on with that?
That's such a fantastic question, Lacey. And that is the work to be done. So I think as you may already know through our past meetings, we're working on a language arts adoption. We're hoping to invest in a curriculum that can not only support our students that have gaps, but also provide some opportunities for students to accelerate their learning. So yes, that is the hope, Lacey. As far as what we're doing now, that's the work we're doing this year. And so I can't speak fully to that answer yet, but I want to just give you all the information that is definitely the work of our counseling team this year to really enrich that program and provide opportunities beyond just summer extension and extension within the classroom, but really enrich that program. So that is the hope and goal this year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I appreciate the emphasis on that. And I can't remember in the state school fund, is there additional funding that comes for tag kids like there are for like kids that are identified with an IEP?
I don't think additional, but tag funding, yes. But and Chanel, correct me if I'm wrong on that piece, but I don't believe there's additional funding for tag students specifically, but just for the program as a whole, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. So like how you were in your report, you were indicating that, for kids, for the SPED count, we get, you know,
Oh,
2
mhm.
times as much. There's not a 2 times as much for a tag kid.
No, not that I'm aware of.
That is so missing in our state school fund. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions for the SPED report? Special services, I should say. All right, communications and community engagement. Julie, do you want a chance to add anything? Any other thoughts?
Well, just the development continues, and any feedback, I said, I'm so grateful for, I hope as you're starting to see some of the changes that we're implementing in the newsletters, if there are things that you're particularly enjoying or the areas that you'd like to see highlighted, I welcome suggestions and any feedback because it's helping me to improve the outreach to the community. And so I'm grateful for any and all suggestions you might have to offer.
All right, be careful what you ask for when you ask for feedback. That's what my mom always said, be careful what you ask for.
We'd be so constructive. Thank you all. But
all right. All right. Anything from the elementary, middle, or high school reports? It looks like through trending through all 3 of those, that attendance is getting just a little bit better each month. And that's really great to see. Okay, Mike, it's you.
Okay. Let's see, a couple of highlights I'd like to point out there. Well, under my activities, the COVID-19 update, the shifts that were forwarded to us from ODE in the masking requirements, and that being outside. So I met with the principals and we talked about implementing that change. And so masks outside are not required. We're trying to maintain social distancing, however, with masks off. So that's something the principals are working at. So recess, PE, and those other times that they're outside when they can socialize and maintain their social distancing, they can take their masks off. So we made that change. And then in the close contact quarantine on contact tracing for a positive case, those close contacts, before this last week, it was a required 14-day quarantine, no exceptions. And Lane County Public Health informed us last week that they would support the 10-day as the maximum for the quarantine. And then a 7-day with a negative test, a student could return to school on the 8th. So test to return. Those are the 2 changes that we implemented as far as the quarantine requirements for close contacts. Any questions on those? Yeah, okay. And then staff appreciation in the community. There's some concern out there in the community for the health of our staff. And they wanted to provide a little bit of care and appreciation to them. So I was approached by a community member to kind of organize something out there. There were folks in the community that were interested in participating in this. So there are some activities coming into the district, to each of the departments and the school buildings where the community is going to provide some gifts and messages to our staffs, all of our staff, on how much our community appreciates what they're doing. They understand how difficult and challenging the work is and has been, but we're getting so much out of this. Our kids are getting so much out of this because of the determination of our staff that this just can't go unnoticed. And so these things will begin to happen before the break and will continue after the break. Any questions on that? It's really big, huge for a community to do that for our schools and staff.
And since I know this is already recorded live on YouTube, we really don't want that to be out there too much because we want it to be a surprise for our teachers. at least the first event that's occurring this month. So even though we've talked about it live on YouTube, don't share it with anybody, please.
And another event that's coming up that's kind of developing, it's been in the works for a while, maybe years, is hosting these world-class track athletes that are participating in the USA Championships, the Olympic trials, or what have you, and attracting some of those countries to Creswell, where we can host them here for the events. And what's coming up, so 3 years ago when I arrived to Creswell, I was in a discussion with the Chamber of Commerce, and they were kind of having a talk about this, and I learned that the district was somehow, or could somehow be involved in it. But I really didn't know who was orchestrating all of this. And then as soon as I was getting caught up on it and getting connected to Dave Stram, COVID hit. And so it was just gone that fast. Well, Dave Stram and Lon Robertson contacted me to kind of pick that up because the World Championships are coming in this summer. And so we've been working on that and getting organized around that. We have at least one country that really would like to be in Creswell, and another country that's interested in, if we can host two, if we have the capacity to host two, then those two countries will be here in Creswell using our district facilities. We'll have a kitchen staff here providing breakfast and lunch for them. We'll charge fees for this of those federations, and be able to provide some upgrades as well as for our facilities, as well as covering the cost of labor and the supplies. But we need to get our facilities up to Olympic standards. So that's going to be fun to have that happen here. And we'll be working on that in the coming months. At this point, Dave is working on the accommodations with the hotel, our local hotel, which is kind of a tricky deal. It's turned out to be more of a challenge than what he or anyone expected that's on this committee. Julie's been a part of the conversations with us, so she's helping organize some of the communications and community outreach for us and the messaging. And then we're working on our end to get the facilities in order and start negotiating the cost, the fees for them to use our district facilities. That's where we're at.
That's awesome. What kind of opportunities are there for when those athletes are here to have any kind of connection between our community, kids, learn about another culture?
Yeah, I'm not sure on what the restrictions are when they're here. It's in the summer though, but how much they need to be isolated, I don't know. We'll find all that out. We're just at the beginning stages of negotiating. So we'll find out what their criteria is, and then we'll be able to start lining some things up. We want every opportunity for our kids to get involved in this. Actually, we're planning a community-wide campaign to get the entire community involved in it, because it will generate quite a bit of business for us here locally. And there's a lot of advantages of doing this, of hosting this, these two federations.
Yeah, we have a lot of welcoming and kind people in our community. It would be great for those other countries that we are able to host to be able to see our community that way and have a great welcome for them.
Did I leave anything out, Julie, on that?
Everything I know you've shared, so.
Okay.
Mike, as you move forward with talking with the track club and things with this, if there's anything that you need from the board in terms of, like, if we need to help with adopting a different procedure, I mean, obviously, let us know so that we can support them coming into our community and facilities as well.
Yeah, I think the main thrust of this is going to be the procurement. And Dave and Lon are going to work on one end, and we'll work on another end. to upgrade our facilities and then supplement where we need to with the funds that we generate from the fees. And I think it's all going to work out to the benefit of our kids, really, because our facilities are going to be in good shape, but they have to be. And but we're looking at a no cost venture here to the district, no cost to the district. And everything, yay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Pass along our thanks to Lon and Dave for being active in the track community and bringing a couple countries to our little town. That'll be great.
Oh, they're so excited. It's like they got.
I bet.
I mean, it's great. It's pretty cute.
That's awesome.
And that's all I got. Unless anybody has any questions on my activities and.
Okay. All right. Looks like we're going to have a short board meeting today. So that's like an early Christmas present for us all to have a little bit of time back in our evening. So looking forward, we have our next board meeting on January 12th. That meeting, we typically don't have any reports from administration just because there's not much school to report on between now and January 12th. And I know Mike has also been preparing in the background to start covering some data, helping us walk through assessment data. I can't remember, Mike, if you planned on starting that in January or in February, but I know that's coming up as well. Some deep dives and discussions with us.
Yeah, that'll be coming in February after our benchmark assessment there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Unless there's anything else anybody would like to mention or ask a question on, I think we can adjourn early. All right. Thanks, everybody. It's nice to see you.